Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a good start to your week. As you can see, I'm at home making a video. Christopher is coming to the end of term at high school, and he's socialising a lot more. He's getting a lot more freedom, which is leaving me with a lot more time on my hands, but that coupled with me leaving the jits and karate is kind of left a vacuum, shall we say. So I guess I'm just going to need to start pushing out more vids and stuff, due to the fact that I have a wee bit more time in my hands, and I've not really been making a lot of vids recently. They've kind of slowed down a little bit, same with the lives and that, but I guess that's just me, but right, I could be doing it's anything that I do, right. I get to a point where I'm like boom, 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 churning out the work, and then get to a point where I just crash into the ground, and then rise for there, however long it takes. I remember when I was studying for my degree in prison, and I got to the halfway point, right, and my gran had just died and all that, and I'd been in a lot of fights, had that kind of fuck your system attitude, and it wasn't really helping me, but I was ready to quit my degree. I was that away. If I actually told the education manager I want to quit, it's like I'm done with this shit, and she actually done that to me. Like, no, you're fucking no, or something fucking shit. Like, put me in my place, basically. Thank fuck she did, because I finished it. You know what I mean? So maybe it's the same with the kind of like karate. Not these things are journeys, man. They're like odysseys. It's not like, oh, you turn up every day for 10 months and then boom, that's you got your certificate. These things are a way of life, really. And I don't know, like sometimes, like when I'm thinking about it, I'm like, that is a lot of time and effort to be putting into these things, but I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I'm not going to go back to a different club no matter what. But at the same time, I'm just in a wee vacuum just now where I'm kind of no lost or adrift, just trying to get to that point where um, I'm being, you know what they say, the best version of yourself. But I'm a better version of my old self, so that's a fucking plus, innit? But no, cause sometimes like Christopher will talk about quitting and all that, and I'm just like, no, Christopher, when something takes this long to achieve, I would be asking questions if you didn't consider quitting, because of how long it's taken. He's been doing karate if he was 7, and he's 14 in 2 months, know what I mean? So, but I'm going to try and get out and film this week. Next week at the very latest, I'm just going to jump in a train somewhere and just take the GoPro, do a bit of filming, because I do love that. I love it. I'm a wee bit hang me about walking about somewhere with a fucking camera, but at the end of the day, like, it's no as if it's like unusual. Like, we live in a technological age now where everything's recorded and filmed and shared and liked and commented on and fuck knows what. So I need to get out and do more of that, because to me that is the most fun part of doing this channel. And even though I've not filmed a lot outside, it is definitely more fun for me. I don't know what anybody that watches the channel thinks, but I'd be happy for anybody to leave comments whether they like me doing this or no. Do you know what I mean? But I've just been to be honest, I feel like I hit a bit of a brick wall. Like, between the stuff between my brother and Ashley, like, it's a lot to process, especially when it's all happening right in front of your eyes. Well, a lot of it anyway. As you know, my brother lives close by and Ashley's up and down a lot. And for me to watch people gradually wasting away I'm not going to lie, it's quite unsettling for me. And for somebody who's quite good at compartmentalising emotions, I dare say that how else is this coming out in me? Because it has to come out some way. Do you know what I mean? It's not just got to be a case of, oh, fuck it, it is what it is, you know. I don't buy into that. Maybe years ago when I was ignorant and a fucking idiot, you know what I mean, I wouldn't have cared. I just thought, fuck it, it's life. But I'm older now and I'm a bit more switched on and all that. Do you know what I mean? So it is kind of taking its toll a wee bit, and it's taking its toll more than I'm admitting. But at the same time, there's no really anybody I talk to about this apart from when I do on here. That's the funny thing. And see about 4 weeks ago or something, I had a heavy panic attack. And I ended up phoning the doctor. I says, listen, you need to get me back into therapy, not blah blah blah. And then the other day I was walking back for, fuck, where was it? I don't know anyway, but the doctor phoned me and says, we've got a letter here for you from Glasgow Caledonian University, because that's where the therapist was, right, based. They says they're refusing to treat you. And I was like, really? I was like, fuck's sake. I says, is that no unethical? And right away I think like she thought, oh, this guy sounds like his appointment. Oh, you'll need to come down. I says, so explain it to me, or you'll need to read the letter. I felt like saying, fucking shred it, fuck's sake, know what I mean? Fucking, imagine a mental health team refusing to treat you, or a doctor refusing to treat you. I don't know. Maybe they've just went and looked at my file and thought, nothing we can do for you, or whatever. I don't know. Don't really want to get into it, but just shows the state of affairs, do you know what I mean? And that is why a lot of the times I refuse to seek help, refuse to seek treatment for things exactly like that. Do you know what I mean? But anyway, moving on. I don't know if any of you will have heard of this case. I hadn't heard of this case until someone who was involved in the shall we just say the law enforcement side of it, but they're no law enforcement, had brought it to my attention about a year ago, and I couldn't remember the killer's name, so for some reason I put some search words into Google and it came up. I think he was known as the Suitcase Killer. This guy, his name was Craig Walker, and he had brutally murdered his girlfriend, Lauren Wilson. Now, this guy was a ex-professional hockey player for Scotland and the United Kingdom. Quite an unusual hobby. Like, I've never really heard of anybody playing hockey. I thought that was just Russia and some places. But there you go. I believe at the time of the offence he was working as an air traffic controller or something like that. So sounds like he's had a pretty, steady employment history. And as far as I'm led to believe, this was his first. The newspapers called him a first offender. To me, that's a bit of a weird term, because to me it's just because it's the first time you've been caught doesn't mean that you're a first offender, do you know what I mean? But I'm not saying I think he's got previous or anything. I just don't believe somebody wakes up at that age, first time he's committed an offence. I don't know if he's maybe had a history of domestic abuse, whatever. I'm not saying he has. I never seen anything like that, but what I'm trying to say is somebody that's capable of doing what this guy doing, to me, hasn't gone through his full life, his full adult life to his 40s, and this is the first time he's ever just committed a crime. And the situation that he found himself in was, so he was married, I believe, at the time, right? I think his wife's name was Sinead. and they had become separated, and Craig Walker had started seeing Lauren Wilson, and during this time, I think he'd made it clear that he was in a exclusive relationship with Miss Wilson, but it turns out that he'd been leaving this kind of, how do I put it? He'd been trying to kind of dissuade her in incremental steps. Let's try to push her away. Oh, I've got cancer, or fucking making up all these excuses. But what he was really trying to do was get rid of her. And obviously the wife had become suspicious, I think. But him and the wife had been talking about reconciling, and they'd planned this anniversary dinner, which I believe may have been a symbol of a new start and all that kind of stuff. But this fucking Fruit Loop had called the wife and said, I'm not going to make it. I'm trying to clean a large coffee stain off my carpet. Now think about this, right? Imagine you're married and your spouse calls you and says, I can't make our reconciliatory fucking anniversary dinner tonight because I've spilt coffee on the carpet. Now, the wife had already suspected he was seeing Lauren Wilson, because I believe that Lauren had tried to add her on Facebook, and she had questioned him about this, and he was like, oh, I know her for years ago. Red flag, innit? And it's always these same tactics and phrases. Oh, I knew her for years ago. I knew him for years ago. But in my experience, these are red flags. I have to clean I wouldn't be thinking you were away killing somebody, but I'd be sitting thinking you were seeing somebody. 100%, I would think that. And obviously this turned out to be true, but it's how it ended that is just absolutely tragic and fucked up. There's no other way to put it. So there had been a confrontation between Craig Walker and Lauren Wilson, and I believe she was stabbed, was it 27 times or something? Right, but she had more wounds than that. And this fucking moron, the stupidness of these people just astounds me sometimes, right? Because what he had done was he'd murdered her, wrapped her in bedding, sealed it with tape, and then put her inside a bag. And I think he put her in a bedroom or a cupboard, right? And I think he'd been. This is the most one of the most despicable things I've heard. Right, this scumbag was texting Lauren's mum, kidding on he was Lauren. See, when you see, as if murder's no bad enough, right? But see, sitting doing something like that, right? That's just another level of, I don't know what you call that. It's manipulative, obviously, but it's just callous as fuck. I would assume you would be so overwhelmed with anxiety and grief and fuck knows what that you'd be begging the cops to come and jail you to get it off your chest. No sitting text the mother of your victim and make out as if she's still alive. I find anybody doing that's it's just another level of callousness, man. It gives me the creeps, to be honest. But I think Lauren's mum knew by the way he was writing the text messages that it wasn't her. And obviously when you're writing a text message, there would be wee things that would give you away like that. Do you know what I mean? It's just because it's almost like a bit of your thought processes. It's like writing a letter, you know? It's like a bit of your mind on a paper or on a text, innit? But anyway, the police showed up at the door as part of the missing person inquiry looking for Lauren, and he directed the cop to the bedroom and said, she's in there. Like, she's in there. You imagine being a cop, right? And you're looking for a woman, a young woman, right? Mother, sister, daughter, cousin, auntie, whatever, right? And you go to a guy's house, he works at fucking Glasgow, whatever it was, right? Ex-hockey player and that. And then, right, she's missing. And this fucking nut job goes, she's in there, and you go in, and that's a corpse. I find it so remarkable that people can hold their emotions in at that point. I know that might sound weird for me to say that, but I think if that was me, man, I don't know what I'd do, mate. And it's probably a good thing that I'm not in any jobs like that, because I would find it hard to separate the professionalism for the here and the now side. Do you know what I mean? Like somebody being that callous. She's in there, right? You go into that room, you find a big bag, unzip it, you know what's in there. How do you know stop yourself, snap your truncheon out of the back of his head and saying he put up a fight? And that was the funny thing, he was shouting, I'm no resisting, I'm no resisting. I've had a lot of wrestling carts in my life, and I've never once shouted that. I'm not making out I'm a big man, but it's just the absolute fucking pathetic behaviour of this individual, man. Like, what the fuck? How does killing this poor lassie to stop her telling your wife, who you were already separated for, sound like the best outcome? Taking some wee girl's mother away for her, and not even that, the trauma of a murder hitting this child. What's she gonna think of guys every time she ends up in a relationship when she's old enough to be in one? That wee lassie's probably gonna have trust issues with men her entire life, and see if she hasn't. Big shout going out to her. She's a better person than I would be. I think that would probably impair my ability to have any meaningful relationships. Do you know what I mean? It's alright me saying that because this never happened to me, but I've been around a lot of people who have taken lives, and I know a few people who have had their lives taken, and it's just an absolute, it's scary, it's scary, man. I don't mind saying that. It's fucking, and it's horrendous. And what's one of the most, to me, the most spiritually damaging things about this whole thing, unless you're an absolute fucking psychopath, is there is no going back for that. You hit me over the head with a bottle and I go and get 5 stitches, fuck it, know what I mean? You can say sorry in 5 months, I might forgive you, might not forgive you, might give you 10 stitches, whatever, but to me, if you leave it long enough, it's forgot about. Like, when I was younger, when I used to run about doing the gang fighting and all, if somebody had even put so much as a scratch, right, I'm probably blown out of proportion, but there would be certain things that I would have been like, this will never get forgot, you're dead, you're dead, you're dead, and I'll just sit like that, staring out the window, thinking about it and all that, right, until I actually walked into them, and then just unleash every bit of anger I had, man, and I never ever thought I would get to the stage where I could walk past somebody who I'd had issues with a long time ago, but I suppose that's the benefits of maturity and all that. But a murder, there is no sorry's no cutting it. Remorse isn't cutting it. It wouldn't cut it for me. I can't speak for this poor lassie's family, do you know what I mean? I can't speak for any of them. And I'm not trying to either, let me put that clear. But sometimes I feel that I can make a educated guess because of my lived experience, do you know what I mean? And I never understand these guys, right, who end up cheating on two women and then murder one of them to stop the other one finding out about an affair. But she's going to find out about a murder, you fucking twat. Like, what bit of that makes sense? What bit of that is logical? And see, to me, see guys like that control women, batter their women, and all that, they're just the absolute height of weakness to me, man. To sit and so, but anyway, the guy, he was sentenced to 21 years, right? So life imprisonment at the High Court in Glasgow, and was it 2023? Right, it's only a couple of years ago, but this happened in 2021, May 2021, right? And I don't ever remember hearing about this, but when you think about what time it was, like 2021, I just think COVID, lockdown, fucking stay away from the telly because it's just all doom, gloom, and fucking boom, know what I mean? So I don't ever remember hearing about it, but it was somebody who, as I said, was involved on the no the criminal side, just like the investigative side or the police side of it, who had brought it up in a conversation, and I thought, I've never heard of that, I'll make a wee video about it. And it would come under a domestic violence murder, because whether this fucking idiot is married or no, it's still a domestic crime. It's a domestic homicide, right? I was trying to fucking load my tablet up to read the news article, and I thought I'd switched on, and it was just being pure slow as fuck. But anyway, hold on. So we've got a domestic homicide, right? Which, funnily enough, there is different categories of them. This is the interesting thing. But what is this fucking thing doing, man? Excuse my language. Aye. Do you know what I mean? And this could be MD's daughter, sister. Do you know what I mean? And at the end of the day, I don't know if I'm bringing awareness to MD or people are getting something out of this or no, but I think we need to be kind of a bit more aware. So he was called the body in the bag murderer. He looks like a wee dweeb. So this is what it says, right? This was the news article for when he was sentenced. Sorry it's taking so long to load. I don't know why it's been doing this. But I noticed there was other devices doing weird shit today. Like I was using Google, and Google it was saying I wasn't connected to the Wi-Fi, and then I was using DuckDuckGo and it was connecting, so I don't know what the fuck's going on there. But this is a BBC article dated 3rd of April 2023, and it says, body and bag murderer Craig Walker jailed for life for brutal attack. Right? What an idiot. A former Scotland hockey player murdered a woman in a vicious attack after learning she was about to tell his wife they were having an affair. Like, I just don't fucking understand. Why would you not just rather the two of them fucking dump you and go and live your life instead of fucking committing this absolutely senseless and fucking brutal killing, know what I mean? It just never understand people like this at all. So we've got Craig Walker, 41, left Lauren Wilson with 77 injuries, including 29 stab wounds after the attack at his flat in Renfrew on 26 of May 2021. So 77 injuries, 29 of which were stab wounds, right? That's not an accident, that's blind rage, that is volcanic anger, both coming out you like projectile vomit. So how's all that built up inside him? Are you that angry she's going to tell your ex-wife? I'd be questioning that. No saying it's either here nor there, but I'd be questioning that. Getting that angry or that. It's a bit weird. But anyway, Walker then put the body of Miss Wilson, 34, in a sports bag to dispose of it. At the High Court in Glasgow, he was sentenced to life imprisonment with a minimum of 21 years. The killing happened on the day of Walker's 9th wedding anniversary with wife Sinead, 38. The couple had split in the summer of 2020, but Walker had been set to return to the family home. But prosecutors said supermarket worker Ms Wilson was about to reveal the length of their affair and had tried contacting Sinead on the morning of the attack. I wonder if he knew that. The court held that Walker flew into a rage and, after luring Ms Wilson to his flat in Cardon Square, Renfrew, battered, strangled and stabbed her before stuffing her corpse into a large sports bag. Fuck me, man. Stop your vision in that now. He denied murder, insisting Ms Wilson, who had a young daughter, was hurt during a frantic struggle. Aye, ding dong, mate. Fuck's sake. Hockey player and all that, obviously athletic, know what I mean? But she probably didn't stand a chance. Walker also said he lied to her about having cancer in an attempt to push her away. Lying about cancer, what a scumbag, who does that? See, anybody that lies about that, lies about having a disease like that, you're a scumbag, mate. As he was being led from the dock into the cells, a member of the public shouted, "Rotten hell, you evil monster." Too right. And his evidence, he gave evidence, what a narcissistic prick. In his evidence, Walker claimed that Ms Wilson had a knife which he tried to get off her. Oh aye, mate, and you stabbed her 29 times. Let me put it to you this way, right? I've been in a lot of situations where somebody's try to put a knife in me, right? But I've never been in a situation where a partner was trying to do it, or an ex-partner. But you could be fucking bet your bottom dollar, even if they were, if I get the knife off them, I'm not going to stab them 29 times with it. I'm going to throw it in the bin, out the window, down the chute. Going to remove the knife for the situation so that the knife is neutralised. You can't hurt me with it anymore. Know what I mean? What a fucking idiot. Prosecutor David Dixon asked if Walker was suggesting that Ms Wilson had stabbed herself, cutting her jugular and carotid artery. Oft. He replied, "There were 3 struggles and there was sliding down the wall. I protracted the knife and there was a big fall in the bedroom. At the time I did not notice the injuries. A police officer told jurors how he discovered Ms Wilson's body during an initial missing person hunt. PC Stuart McDougall said he carried out a search of Walker's flat after finally being allowed access and recalled seeing a figure in a hockey bag in the bedroom. I asked Mr Walker what this was and he said, "That's her, she's in the bag," said the officer, who promptly handcuffed Walker. The court heard Ms Wilson's mutilated body was wrapped in bedding in what appeared to be black electrical tape. Paramedics arrived, but she had already passed away. Jurors were told a hoover, wipes and a mop and bucket were discovered in the bath as Walker tried to clean up what he had done. The court heard that Ms Wilson's mother, Pauline, 61, had become frightened after she did not pick up her daughter on the day of her death. She said Ms Wilson had told her she was going to a hospital appointment with Walker and had something important to tell her, but it was nothing to worry about. Text messages between the pair were read to the court, with one from Ms Wilson saying, "I have lied to you, I'm sorry, I'm not at the hospital at all, I just need some time alone to work things out, I will be back to get her," meaning her daughter, right? Her mother said it was totally out of character for Lauren because she would never leave her daughter, ever. Walker's wife Sinead said they had split up in 2020 but discussed reconciling and were due to go out for an anniversary meal on the night of the murder. But Walker, an air traffic controller, said he'd been delayed cleaning a large coffee stain on his carpet and instead brought a takeaway meal but left his wife's home without eating anything. Aye mate, murder will do that to you. Sinead recalled getting a friend request on Facebook from Ms Wilson that month, which she thought strange. But when she quizzed her husband about Ms Wilson, he claimed to have known her from years ago and denied he was in a relationship with her. Judge Stacey said the consequences of Walker's actions were devastating for Ms Wilson's family and young daughter, and their grief was overwhelming. "You've deprived the child of her mother's love and guidance," she told Walker. "She's old enough to have memories of her mother, but much too young to understand what has happened. Her family now have the responsibility of bringing up the child and shielding her from what happened, while being honest with her as well as grieving for themselves." Detective Inspector Fraser Spence, the senior investigating officer in the case, said Walker had carried out a brutal attack and committed a horrendous crime. "While nothing can change what has happened, I hope that this conviction brings at least a degree of closure for her relatives and friends," he said. "He callously took Lauren's life, showing complete disregard for her and her family. He will now have to face the consequences of his actions." Walker was also convicted of a separate charge of attempting to pervert the course of justice. What a scumbag, man. Just such a waste of life, honestly, man. Poor lassie with her full life ahead of her. And do you know what I wondered? I don't know if this is relevant or no, but I always wondered, I wonder if she ever saw any red flags. She ever saw anything that maybe would have indicated to her that he was capable of something like this. Because I don't believe things like murder just happen out of the blue unless it's like a bar, or even though it might have been like the result of an outburst of anger, he would have had that thought in his head that whole day, man. You know what I mean? Absolute scumbag, yeah, guy, man. Or I wonder if he'd been consuming drugs or that. That would be interesting, but at the end of the day, I suppose it doesn't really matter, does it? Guy's a scumbag. He's took a poor lassie away from her family and her child and her friends, and now he's away rotting in a cell. Hopefully I would like to tell you that the troops are making his life a misery, but the funny thing is, when I read comments on posts about guys like this, it's like, oh, I hope the boys are making sure he's fucking getting battered every day. People like that don't get put next to us. They go in with sex offenders and bag snatchers and shit, because they would be target practice if they were put in mainstream or general population, whatever you want to call it, like where the big boys are basically. Nah, he'll not be walking about there, mate. He'll be hiding in a wee fucking corner somewhere, rightfully so. And as much as sometimes I feel conflicted a wee bit, like bringing up stuff like this, and I hope it none ever causes any pain to any victims or whatever. But I feel it's also important for these videos to remember the victims as opposed to the offender. Do you know what I mean? Such a sad waste of life, man. But I hope you found this video interesting anyway. I've been meaning to do it for a while. It was on my list, to be honest, but it's a big list, sadly. But anyway, I'm gonna leave it there. And thanks for everybody for bearing with me since I've been a little bit inactive recently. But I always come back to it, and that's the main thing. But yous all take care. Have a good Monday evening, and I'll see yous all next time I'm back on. Catches.